So you have a creative mission in your life, but you constantly postpone working on it. Maybe you tell yourself you'll give it more attention when you have a better set of life circumstances. Perhaps you start working on your creative mission, but then you quickly lose momentum and stop working on it because living your life gets in the way. You have obligations and responsibilities that you convince yourself are more important than working on that creative mission that fulfills your sense of purpose. Whatever prevents us from pursuing our creative endeavors, it just seems like there's never enough time to focus, never the right environment, and never the right mood. This stems from life circumstances that we mold our beliefs and mindset around. Here's a list of real-world excuses for not working on your creative projects. You had a stressful, busy week at your job. Other priorities matter in life, like exercising or socializing to de-stress from work. You have to help family or friends. Your friends say, let's do shots, and you say yes. Your work drains all your energy by taking your focus during your peak creative hours. You want to say yes to everything so you don't miss out on life. This kind of dilemma exists in an infinite number of variations for people. It's a common problem, and likely most of us who have aspirations for improving our life circumstances and creative output experience in some way. There's always something we wish we could devote more time to. Some practice or activity to devote more time and energy towards, something that gives us meaning. Those endeavors that would enrich our life experiences and deepen our sense of fulfillment from life. For me, this dilemma of consistent devotion to my creative endeavors runs deep. I have large goals in the realms of online business, artistic expression, and outdoor travel and recreation. I want to say yes to everything that sounds like a fun or enriching experience. It's not a bad thing to want to experience a lot. The problem arises in our relationship with time and productive action. It can be difficult to trust that things will happen and manifest over a prolonged period of time. I expect quick results, and I have a vast curiosity. This can distract me from remaining consistent on any one activity for a long enough period of time to get results and grow. I don't like closing off possibilities or opportunities, and I want to experience the realization of my endeavors from the level of seasoned expert. In short, I dream big. My problem, or perhaps my blessing in disguise, is that I am an INFTJ personality type. I become distraught when I don't feel aligned with my life purpose. If you haven't taken your own personality test or read about it in depth, take the free test at 16personalities.com. That's the one I use. There's probably a bunch of them. But I used that one at my job with my team that I work with, and we all talked about our strengths and our weaknesses and what makes us the best, deliver our best work, and feel most fulfilled as well. So you really learn a lot about yourself, so I can't recommend it enough. It's not the same as an astral reading if you're not into the horoscopes. I'm a Scorpio, by the way, just had a Scorpio moon. But if you're not into that, it's not like that. This is literally just how your brain works, what motivates you, what your strengths, your weaknesses are, what your fears are, and ultimately what gives you the most sense of purpose and fulfillment from life. So I highly recommend checking that out if you want to improve your productivity. You'll learn a lot about your values, your productivity, your emotional triggers, what you need to do in life to feel fulfilled. Personally, I don't transition well from task to personal creative task. I tell myself if I had just gotten the art right from the get-go, I'd be getting paid for something I thoroughly care about and enjoy doing. This is not a mindset that encourages working towards a solution to any creative impasse that I experience. It does not focus on doing the work. In truth, I have to be creating. Taking the actions of putting words on the page, producing a video, practicing and sharing music, snowboarding down a mountain and making a video of it. I used to forget about the process, the steps and stages of the journey. I based my satisfaction on the end result, and this sent me bouncing from task to task without ever putting the finishing touches on anything and checking it off my to-do list. This clearly is not the way to get things done. I want to share my to-do list with you guys from last week. This is just in the realm of creativity. I have multiple to-do lists in different categories, but in the creative production category, I wanted to do these things. I wanted to do the email marketing and project management and the video editing tasks for my day job. I wanted to write the next edition of my newsletter. I wanted to publish the newsletter as a blog post, turn the newsletter into tweets and LinkedIn posts and schedule them, shoot the newsletter as a YouTube video, which is what I'm doing now, edit the YouTube video with B-roll stock footage, edit the YouTube video into shorts to repurpose as reels and shorts, shoot some episodes of my episodic reel series, What's My Niche, I wanted to edit those episodes. I wanted to make updates to my website. I wanted to work on writing my next book. I'm writing a nonfiction book, by the way. I have 2 novels I self-published back in the day, but right now I'm writing a nonfiction book about the creative struggle and being a multi-interested creator and how you can find productivity and meaning in that when you keep getting confused and lost and hitting these creative ruts. Let's see, what else did I want to do? I wanted to read the chapter that I was on and do the exercises in an artist recovery book that I'm studying. By the way, that book's called The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron, and I highly recommend it if you feel like you are at a creative impasse or feel stuck in any kind of life rut. Do the exercises in that book, read the essays. It's a 12-week program. I can't recommend it enough. It was written in the 90s before they even had digital courses, but all the exercises ring true. It's mostly just journaling and reflecting on past experiences, and it's designed to heal you and connect you with a sense of possibility and strength and compassion for yourself that you can create anything that you set your mind to. So I highly recommend that book. There's a link in the description if you want to check it out. But last week I wanted to do all of these things, and that's a lot. So my thought process went like this. From a practical view, since my day job pays the bills, and from a sense of fear that if I don't do my work, I'm not going to be able to pay my bills and maintain my physical survival. From a practical view, my day job pays my bills, so I make that work the priority. In my heart and my soul, my priority is to be working on my book because that's what fulfills me the most. Yet I don't do it enough. I don't make the time for it because I have all these other tasks that I feel I must do first, like creating content because I'm trying to grow on YouTube and Instagram, and I'm trying to write a newsletter a week and all that stuff, plus my job. I'm like, whoa, Brady, trying to do a lot here. Hold your horses a little bit, but let's stay focused. Let's be clear about our intentions, and let's keep moving forward. So I see the nonfiction book that I'm working on about the creative struggle as something I have to do. I have to write it to release important emotional blockage. The act of writing it releases it for me as I confront various scenarios from the past 8 years of my creative struggle. If I get this published, it would move me on to a greater phase of creative productivity. That's what I think. But I'm coming up on my own, doing some other things. You'd think if I just wanted to write novels, screenplays, and play music more regularly, I could just do that. Yet to embrace the full magnitude of those creative desires, I seem to have convinced myself that I need to also create a profitable online business that frees up my time and my schedule to work on those creative endeavors with greater focus and more resources. But as I'm finding, I'm like making myself more busy with content production and trying to design a website and make a personal brand and all that, that I'm actually finding little moments through the day where I used to think I didn't have them. I'm finding these little moments to work on my creative projects. Like I dusted off my guitar gear the other day for the first time in like over a year and plugged it in my pedal board, my electric guitar, and I played it, cranked it. And I'm in an apartment, and I was like, it was in the middle of the day, so I was like, it's not gonna bother anyone too bad. But I did that, and I still was able to get my work done. Was still able to publish my newsletter. I don't know how it's possible. It's like there's instantly more time in the day, and it comes from reframing my mindset. In the past, this used to be the opposite. I prioritized creative endeavors over work. What happened was I experienced periods of financial strife and time management stress when the inevitable need for consistent cash flow struck. I stopped making my artistic projects my priority and only focused on work that brought me money but did not fulfill my soul. I started to believe that that's the way money was made. To get out of this creative rut and believe that artistic creation was possible again, I had to examine the disappointments in my life experiences that formed the basis of my limiting beliefs about what was possible. I talk about all this in one of my recent videos, Rising from a Creative Rut. You can check that out. It's linked on the screen. So once I had reframed my beliefs about how I could spend my time, I needed to be methodological about how I devoted time to each project. I accepted that not all of these things would happen at once, and there would need to be creative seasons where I transitioned from one big project to the next. I needed to pick 1 or 2 main projects to remain consistent at. For me, what made the most sense was working on building an online business where I teach and coach other creators how to work on their creative mission while working on my book when I could. I wanted to focus on consistent habits of creation and showing up for my creativity and occasionally pick up the guitar too. So realistically, one could say that you can get your day job's work done and work on a creative project in your free time. The problem for me is that I love my free time, and I also derive a massive source of inspiration and purpose from recreating and exploring in the great outdoors and socializing with people when I can. My personality test said I'm 81% introverted, but when I do get out, I thrive on social interaction. So last week, in addition to the extracurricular tasks of writing and working on my business and my book, I also had these experiences on my radar. I wanted to backcountry snowboard a mountain on the edge of Canyonlands in Utah before the snow melted too much. I got invited to a camping desert disco party for a friend's birthday on the Green River and wanted to canyoneer a canyon with a friend. The following weekend, I had a wedding party for two friends in Durango, Colorado, and there was another backcountry snowboard trip to do with a friend who was in town. I don't like missing out on life experiences, especially when I'm in the prime of my life. These are all activities that make lifelong memories. In addition to all this, here are the things that I want to be doing weekly for my health. Morning workouts, yoga classes once or twice a week, at-home yoga every day, play music with other musicians, read books, cook healthy meals, practice shooting my compound bow and arrow. If there's time, study the storytelling techniques in a movie or a series. Obviously, this is a lot to do in a week. Naturally, there will be tasks that get ignored, neglected, or postponed. I make sure I get in workouts and eat healthy meals every day. Sometimes the other desires don't happen. I admit I'm still a work in progress. There's times I have to sacrifice things that I want. I postpone the endeavors and wait for a more opportune time. This creates the need to really visualize the process of achieving what I want. If I want consistent cash flow, I have to work my day job consistently for now. If I want to make money someday from my online information business, I have to build. I have to post consistently on social media to share value and build an audience and an email list. By the way, if you want to sign up for my email list, go to bradysnow.com. There'll be my archives of past letters, but you can receive guides and notes on the creative struggle, content creation, and living a life with purpose. If I want to write another book, I have to carve out time to write consistently. If I want to recreate outdoors or take a road trip or socialize, I have to plan ahead and get the priority tasks done ahead of time so I can thoroughly enjoy the fun. I published my YouTube video before the trip, scheduled a few reels, tweets, and LinkedIn carousels to be published while I was away, had a writing session on my book, told myself I'd have to be extra productive the following week to get ahead on video production and make some progress on the book. To continue making progress towards realizing all these projects and activities that I want to do, I have to choose the priority goals and work at them consistently. I do this until I reach a milestone where sustaining that work becomes easier, or I finalize a project and move on to the next. This can be stressful because you don't want other things that are important to you to suffer. Trust your intuition about what is most important and then go for it. Anything that you're meant to work on will come back around in time. Also bear in mind that you may change in the midst of this process and your priorities may shift with what you create, learn, and experience, and that's okay. The key is to remain adaptable and always work to have clarity over your objectives and your creative time. So here's how to avoid getting distracted from your creative mission. Once you have clarity over your creative mission, the thing that is going to move it forward the most is showing up consistently to work on it. Block out time in your week. Even if it's just 10 to 15 minutes to start, that's okay. You're developing habits of showing up for your creative project, and that is always worth it. There are a plethora of tasks, events, and excuses that could distract you from showing up. This happens all too much with writing my next book. I get frustrated, I blame external causes. Sometimes I blame myself for choosing to do something else with my time. Yet if I go snowboard a backcountry mountain or hang with some cool people, I don't regret it. Life is meant to be lived, and I'm grateful I get to do the things that I enjoy. But I want to continue to improve this and make more time for my creativity and some of those further, more exquisite travels that I want to do. The trick is not being too hard on yourself. If you miss a writing session, don't dwell on how upset you are that you missed it. Don't make statements that say it's just too hard to show up with your current life circumstances. That will create limiting beliefs that will take root in your subconscious and inhibit your productive abilities. Just show back up and keep working on it. It's natural that we get distracted. The human mind is a curious thing, and we're designed to follow the motivational triad within the study of evolutionary psychology. The motivational triad maps the three categories of survival instincts that control humans in animal actions or inactions. Our reasons for not doing something or for doing the wrong thing all stem from one of these reasons or a combination of them. Unless we become disciplined in consistently showing up for our creative projects, we will always become distracted by one of these three things. Avoiding pain. Sometimes buckling down and working on a creative project stirs up trauma from past disappointments, so instead of working on it, we neglect it so we can avoid the pain. Conserving energy. Life is exhausting. Work, relationships, exercise, socializing, not taking enough time for our own well-being, all of this takes a toll on our energy. When our days are already super busy and exhausting, why would we lend more energy to a creative project when we are already doing what's required to survive? Work a job and pay the bills. Seeking pleasure. Life gets stressful, and so naturally we want to seek instant pleasure as much as possible. We may choose socializing, Netflix, or outdoor recreation over working on a creative project because it gives us instant pleasure. This feels good and eases our stress. Avoid pain, conserve energy, seek pleasure. All of these considerations are valid, and we shouldn't forget the importance of avoiding pain, conserving energy, and seeking pleasure. But we need to find the right routines for our own individual levels of creative output. Often this involves at least confronting a little bit of pain up front. Your tolerance improves over time because you learn to manage your reaction to that pain, which conserves more energy. You begin to realize how to get the most amount of work done with the least amount of energy. Sometimes that's still a lot of energy, especially starting out. With control over your energy and your pain tolerance, you begin to find more opportunities to seek pleasure, not only in life's simple joys, but in the work that you contribute your creative forces to. If you want to bring a creative mission to life, you need to learn to manage the motivations of avoiding pain, conserving energy, and seeking pleasure, and find a system that works for you. A system where you can still accomplish the work required of your creative mission. You still need to avoid long-term damaging pain, energy drains that inhibit your work output, and find the bits of pleasure that you can do without for short periods of time. For example, with avoiding pain, I often choose to read instead of write because it will be easy. Writing is hard and makes me think and dig into my subconscious depths. Yet I know that if I avoid writing, it will perpetuate my pain of having slacked on my creative mission. I can endure a little discomfort and pain by opening my Word document even when I'm not in the perfect mood for it, and convert thoughts to words on the page by thinking and typing. I can prioritize showing up at the times I know I'm in the best mental, emotional, and physical state to work on my creative designs. On the contrary, even if I'm not in those best states, I can still try to make a little bit of effort. And if I know that I do need rest, that's okay. Rest, come back to the project. This is a long-term project. Conserving energy is a challenging one. Sometimes I get done with a full day's work, editing videos and programming emails for my day job, that I absolutely do not want to keep staring into a computer. I want to get outside and unravel my eyes at the mountain across the valley and the clouds floating above them. Like right now, I'm on my third YouTube video shoot in one sitting after a full day's work. I want to go outside and catch the sunset. But I'm grinding on because I'm trying to get this content shot. Digital burnout is a real thing, and it's not healthy. So I work with what I have. I try to get up early and write a little bit before work. Then I take a break and make breakfast or step outside for some fresh air over a tea or coffee. Next, I try to get back to work and take brain breaks throughout the day. And if I manage my focus well, I usually have some energy left before bed to work on stuff like shooting my videos and editing them, or get a little more writing in. I'm doing it right now so that I can play some music tonight instead. All this involves making some sacrifices, so I try to minimize my socializing during the week so I can get my tasks done, at least the priority tasks. I trust that my life will not always be this way, and perhaps someday I'll be able to outsource my video editing or other time-consuming tasks. But for now, I'm learning a lot in the process, and I want to share what I learned with other creators. This way I can focus on what matters most in my life, like the concepts and ideas I write and narrate in my videos, which is the content creation itself. By the way, if you want to follow my YouTube channel for future videos on the creative struggle, content creation, and living with purpose, give me a subscribe, drop me a like, drop me a comment. Thank you. Having a positive belief about what you are working towards helps a lot. I believe that one day, after being consistent at this thing for a whole while, I'll develop systems, acquire more help, and be able to get out more during the week to go on a hike, play music with friends, attend more yoga classes, or whatever I want. All this leads to seeking pleasure. I'm a hedonist by nature, the positive sense of the word. I don't think it's a negative thing to be one that is addicted to seeking pleasure. We all are, because of the motivational triad. We all want to seek pleasure. I am addicted to pleasure. Snowboarding, hiking, learning paragliding, exploring, soaking in hot springs, traveling, meeting people, playing music, all sound like a great use of time to me. And I want to do these things to the best of my ability. But it's the tiny, forgettable, instant pleasures that I seek while I'm trying to work that I can do without. When I'm trying to distract myself from doing work, there's times I can cut that out and find those moments to work on my creativity and my projects and do something more fulfilling. But for example, I procrastinate and look at Instagram on my phone. I message friends at unnecessary times. These things are not evil, but I need to manage them and do them at the appropriate times with respect to my creative obligations to myself. I try to cut down on my phone time during the day and stay as focused as possible for given focus blocks where I crank out my work for my day job or my content publications. I set the intention of what I will work on and try my hardest to not let any other task pull my focus until I reach the end of the time block or the end of the task. At the end of a long work day, I often choose to go on a walk instead of write. This is pleasurable to me and relaxes my mind and body. I see it as an important pleasure for survival because it's good for my health. Mood management really has to be the primary deciding factor of your longevity in life. I realize there are ways to improve the productivity of my evenings even when this time is a major call for seeking pleasure. I see there's opportunity to squeeze extra workouts, yoga, or creative bouts into the fabric of my space-time. I trust it will all come together as long as I keep intending, writing, and moving my body and mind. So, in summary, here's how to make more time for your creative mission. To make more time on your creative mission, you need to balance how you manage avoiding pain, conserving energy, and seeking pleasure. We must strive to make a time management system for our projects and work endeavors that serves our lifestyle and our bursts of creative efforts. This will not happen all at once. The process of creation is not instant. The pyramids were not built in a day. Novels aren't written in one sitting. Businesses don't hit 100K months in recurring revenue in 1 week. The world record for longest paraglider flight did not happen on that person's first try. Bringing a creative project to fruition is a process of interconnected single acts. It is not a single solitary event. To realize the project vision, you need to be consistent with your interconnected single action. I'm talking about dedicated acts that serve the project and move it forward. What also helps is becoming good at transitioning between priority tasks. For example, I was on a roll when I was writing the newsletter this week for myself, but I had a Monday work meeting and my writing went into the meeting time, and so I had to go to the meeting. So instead of bringing the stress baggage with me of how I wish I had this newsletter done right now, instead of blaming my job for my slow pace of creative growth, I accepted that a break may serve my creation's overall quality. I attended the meeting and got back to where I left off later in the day. The meeting was a gentle social break where I interacted with other humans about goals that require productivity and thorough communication. And I also saw that we were discussing the performance of our online business practices. So studying what is working and not working in our video content production system, in our ads, our email marketing, our course production, our business operations. This was all a valuable experience, and I can learn a lot from this to help aid me in my own creative endeavors. So our daily experiences are all linked, and when you can learn to see how differing tasks support the others in a whole ecosystem of productivity, you're well on your way to increasing your productivity and easing your stress about your slow and sometimes backwards pace of progress. Maybe I'm stubborn and idealistic, or maybe I actually believe I can discover the secret to bending time and manifesting gardens of creative projects like the stellar nurseries of the Milky Way birth new stars. I still believe there's a way to achieve everything on my personal creative to-do list. I call this my cosmic to-do list because it is the list of tasks that I must do to realize my life vision and live my purpose. I'll be talking more about cosmic to-do lists on future videos, so if you're interested, subscribe and don't miss one of my future videos. Thanks for tuning in. See you next time.